We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to 420 Live. I am your host, Jeff Kravitz. I am sitting in a backyard in Margate, New Jersey, freshly tanned out of the sun. It's humid outside, so I might be schwitzing a little bit. It might be a little greasy on my head. The makeup artist didn't show today, or the hair, as you can see. Still need to have the hair done. But we're happy to see you. Today is Thursday. It is the 23rd of July. Again, I have to look. I don't know. It's hard to tell. And I can't really see because if I wear my glasses, they fog up. So we are here it's summer. It's beautiful here at the shore. I was in the ocean today, again, for hours. It's so amazing to be back. I woke up the moms in the house and the kids and went down to the beach. It's just like, the ice cream man, all the different things in life that kind of keep you going, and all your memories come flooding back, and all the different ways I've taken this town and tamed it. Margate, Ventnor, Atlantic City, Longport. The whole island has been my bitch. I hate to say that, but this was my home. This is where I lived, and we roam these streets like we own them. And we come back now, and we still feel like we own a piece of the island, all the locals that live here, and we keep it very near and dear to our heart. It's a special place. The Jersey Shore is a special place. It creates a special kind of individual. A lot of my friends that I have on the West Coast are East Coasters. A lot of people that have been on the show are from the East Coast. We're talking to our friend Jon Barber from the Disco Biscuits today, and they're a Philadelphia-based band. I say the word Disco Biscuits around here, but it's like, what? Really? So they have their fan base. We're in the middle of Disco Biscuits country right now. And it's just been a blast bringing the show to the East Coast. Today, I made my first major scheduling faux pas, which was I scheduled the show for 4:20 Eastern time, which isn't right because that puts me on the air 3 hours earlier. But, I'm just already set in this time zone. And I got the call like, are we going live right now? And I was like, what? Why? And they're like, oh, yeah. You messed up the time. So we fixed the time. We're glad you're all here. We're looking forward to talking to Jon. We're going to bring him on in a minute. We're going to let him warm up in the zone. He's in Aspen. And it's great being able to connect with everybody from all over the place. And, next week is the 39th birthday of MTV. I don't think there'll be any other birthdays because MTV's probably like a woman that will be 39 forever. It's got to that level. 39 forever, 39 plus one. So 39 years of MTV. And we're going to be talking to Dan Cortese next week from the famous Rock and Jock games that I used to shoot. All those things that I used to do back in the day when I was working for a living. And now I'm talking for a living. I don't know if you caught my new promo, but it's up. And, it kind of explains the situation and how I got here and how we come to you every day at 4:20 Pacific time. And distract you from what's going on out there in the day. And to tell you the truth, when you're at the beach and you're living summer, you are so removed and so far distracted from what's going on in the big world. I mean, if we don't turn the news on ever, you're not paying attention. I might see a tweet go by. I saw that they canceled the Republican National Convention. Duh. Everything's canceled, folks, for the next year, maybe more. So all these things, I saw Justin Bieber announced his tour today, and I wish him a lot of luck. I sure hope there's world tours next June. But pandemics last for 2 years, and that's where we're at. And I saw that the government spent $10 billion buying all these different vaccines or something like that. They bought 3 different vaccines, hundreds of millions of cases of doses. So the idiots are running the asylum. Don't listen to anyone. Just try not to pay attention and stay healthy. Do your thing with your mask. Everybody out here in Jersey, you go in somewhere, they will not serve you without a mask. So, don't be a COVIDiot. That's a term I learned today. That's actually in the Urban Dictionary. And the definition is someone who does not believe that COVID-19 exists. So don't be a COVIDiot. So I have a couple comments here I want to see. No, I did not see Trump on the lawn. I'm not looking at that. Oh, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, my many friends in the business, Jon Barber is one of them. He's been involved in so many different things that are interesting that I was really looking forward to talking to him. And he's got his own podcast. He's got the band, and he's involved in so many other things that you have no idea about. We're going to peel him like an onion today. Welcome, Jon Barber to 420 Live.
How are you, Jeff? What's going on?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm hanging out, having a nice, relaxing day. I'm just chilling. Things are
So
good.
you in the mountains?
Yep, in Aspen, Colorado today. I just got here. I'm here for the weekend, and then I go back to LA. So little mountain vacation, real quick.
So you just a little R&R?
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of a little bit of everything, you know.
Your little work trip too, because I know you're a new dad, right? You're a new father.
Yes, I got a 5 month.
5 months.
Yeah, he's little. He has a personality for sure. He's he's got a strong personality. He believes that he looks at everybody and he believes that everyone's communicating, and it's really great. He changes all the time. I mean, all the things that they say about kids are true, and
it's like every cliche. I realize, like, everything I ever saw on a comic strip, everything I ever saw on a TV show that I thought were funny jokes and little cliches about being a dad and having a family are true. And you don't realize that until you're a dad, and then you're like, oh, right, I saw this on comedy. But it's not as funny. It's not as funny when you're dealing with it as it is on television. Are you getting sleep?
No.
But you are now. You got a nice weekend of sleep planned.
I hope so. We'll see what happens. I know Lisa's not getting any sleep. Poor Lisa. She's up with the baby all the time, and she's just like the rock of the three of us. You know, she makes it happen. And I'm lucky that I do. Like, if I don't wake up because the baby's crying, she always does. So sometimes I do. Sometimes I contribute a little bit, but I'm very lucky that, I have no skill with babies at all. I mean, literally, this baby's the first time I've ever been near a baby in my whole life.
I definitely got away with the girl with not wiping your butt for a little while. I'm like, it's too delicate down there. I don't want to get involved. You got to deal with that. But that only lasted for a couple days, and then it was like, guess what? You're changing a diaper, dude. Get over it.
That's where I excel. That's where I come through. I can change the diapers, no problem. I haven't put one on backwards yet, so I feel like that's a good spot. And but the kid we're lucky. He's very healthy. He's very happy, and quarantine and new baby go well together.
Yes, it's amazing. It's amazing time to have the energy and the time now where you're not distracted, because usually you'd have a crazy schedule. What was the Biscuit schedule right around now that you had before this summer tour? Right?
We were supposed to headline Electric Forest last week, which was 10 years of working up the Electric Forest ladder to a headliner. Like a lot of bands, they play 1 year and they're in the fan VIP parking lot, and then they have a huge hit single, and then the next year they're on their main stage headlining. And the Disco Biscuits, we play every slot along the way, and we just persevere our way to the headlining spot. And this was the year that it was good, so we were very excited for that. Very excited for Camp Bisco. Red Rocks, we had this crazy thing. Oh man, I don't want to talk about it. It was just like,
it's depressing, right? Because it's almost like it's almost like getting interrupted in the middle of sex. You're just like, wait, what?
Way worse than that.
Way worse.
Oh yeah, I can't break. Sometimes you get interrupted in the middle of sex, and you're like, I can breathe deeply for a minute and like catch my breath, and not so bad,
Well, I know we are there now. We're all catching our collective breath. What have you been doing during this time? What's been your MO?
Well, just like all the other musicians in the business, my salary went to zero. So, and I just had a baby, so a lot of my money is going towards things that I didn't even know we had to buy. I didn't even know these were things. Literally never. I'm the youngest in my family, and I'm the youngest of my older generation's kids. So I'm the youngest of the youngest of the youngest. And then my sister had the next child, and I was 35 when that happened, or something crazy. So 31, I think it was. So I was never around a baby ever. And I was on tour when my sister had her kids, so I never
So
saw those
you were
kids.
never Uncle John, like taking the
Nah.
kids
I
in
mean,
the
look, I
cabin.
am 2 days a year, three
Right.
days a year. I'm Uncle John. I hang out, throw the kid in the water, pick the kid up out of the water, throw him back in the water, and then I go home, and then I'm back to rock star guy. But like changing diapers, knowing what to do, how to pick them up, what does the crying mean, what all this bullshit that you need to know. Which I enjoy all of it. I'll be honest with you. I like every part of it. So I don't
Well,
know.
you're learning a whole new trade, almost like it's a trade. You're raising a human being. This is a
I
job.
know
Being a
it
dad
is.
is a job.
It is. I know, and I mean, it's definitely there's a more hectic schedule than rock guitar player. I'll tell you that much. But there are some options for rock guitar player. I feel like keeping music going is really important right now. Keeping musicians working is really hard because everything that you can do in the internet space right now as a musician, you pretty much have to do for free. Now, maybe if some incredible shit happens, someone will cut you a check. But at the end of the day, that only happens to people who are connected into record labels and all these combinations of business deals, and it's only a very select few people. I mean, there's a really large group of touring musicians and just active entertainers who, for one reason or another, either they don't want to go down that road, or their music isn't, like, for me, my music just doesn't fit in any of those categories, right? Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do in our world? So we are building a website that is going to be a ticketed live stream site. It's called couchtour.tv. You can go to it right now and you can buy my first acoustic show on the site, which will be the debut show of the site. And that's in August on 8/8/2020. So take a look at that, folks.
So Couch Tour TV is the new project that you've been working on.
Yeah. www.couchtour.tv. And we have really big plans for it. And I'm going to do like a soft launch in August with an acoustic show. I might do a free one after that, and then another one that's ticketed, and kind of go back and forth. We're in talks to having some other people come on to it. And I'm hoping that I can do a lot of really great Disco Biscuit shows on it, like similar to what we did in Citizens Bank Park. But
a live stream, but not in the middle of a park. For people that missed it, the Disco Biscuits played where the Phillies play. How did that feel? I know you're a Philly fan. You're a Phillies fan?
Yeah, of course. I lived in Philadelphia for 16 years.
Of course. Well,
I sat on the right field wall when they won the Super Bowl. Of course, I'm a Phillies fan.
You mean the World Series?
Yeah, whatever they call that.
Super Bowl is football. That's all right.
It's all a Super Bowl to me, Jeff. It's always a Super Bowl.
Sounds all day, Barber.
It's weird. I talk to a baby all day. I live with a baby, so like he doesn't hold me to the fire when I say Super Bowl, but I meant World Series. Yeah, he's just like, he doesn't even care. So
or he just spits up all over you.
He does that. We call that releasing the hounds. Is what we call that.
First of all, what was it like to play in a stadium that size?
No, it's amazing. It's the best. I was looking around, especially towards the end. I think I might have talked about this on the podcast episode about it, but I was looking around and I was just like, this is crazy. This must be bonkers when it's like the Beatles filled with people. Like it must be, or World Series or whatever, like the baseball players are playing there every day. It must be a crazy job because there's just so much, like it's everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's seats, and thousands of them. And that's just a section.
Right.
So it's we've played some big stages before. I mean, I walked off stage at Electric Forest one year when we headlined not the main stage, but the second main stage, whatever they call that stage.
Yeah.
And I walked off that stage one year, and the promoters were right there. I think Don Strasberg was right there. And I was like, hey, Don, how many people are out there? Because it sure does look like a lot. And Don was like, at least 40,000, at least. And I looked around and I was like, wow, that's a lot. I don't know if I've ever played it. I mean, I think Bonnaroo, we played in front of them a couple times, a handful.
But a little bit different when they're spread out on a field as opposed to up around you in a bowl like that.
Dude, 40,000 is not even, it's 2/3 full.
Right.
The stadium at full blast is 60 grand. And it's just like, there's decks of people. It must be insane. It must be.
And you know what? They don't let bands play on the infield when bands do play stadiums.
Yeah, why not?
Because they don't want they preserve the infield. They don't want all the staging and everything on the infield because it eats through the grass. So they set the stage, they keep the infield free of fans, and they set the band up usually at the other end of the stadium. The stadium shows I've seen at Dodger Stadium, like that, or per Pearl Jam, or when the Dead played at Dodger Stadium. They never used the infield because all the equipment would tear up the grass, all the trucks and everything. You guys actually set your gear up on the baselines and stuff, right?
We were not allowed to walk in the stadium or on the field. We were not allowed to walk in the field.
On the grass.
We were like, we went into the dugout. We were allowed to stay on the dirt. We could run onto the thing that you saw us do that run on, but we weren't allowed on the outfield. We weren't allowed on the infield at all. No running on the mound. Apparently nobody had been on the mound in weeks. So It's like a sacred thing, the mound.
And today is auspicious because we're starting baseball season. I think that's today or tomorrow.
Are they? That's great. And I love the idea. I mean, everybody's like, how do you do a 60-game season? It's like, really? You need us to sort that out for you? Like, I think it'll be fine.
I think the question is, how do you do a 200-game season?
I know,
That's baseball drives me nuts because it's just too big and too long.
Well, it's the full 100. What is it? How many games do they play in a season?
180 in the season.
1,180. Do they play?
180.
180. I think the first 120 are just for like the coaches. I don't know why they count them. It's just like the longest preseason in baseball, but it's nothing. It's like, who watches those games? And then they have the team that is 50, like 10 and 10, or they're 50 and 50 at the first 100, and then they go on a run and they win the whole thing because like they didn't get too crazy about the first 100.
They didn't lose it. Well, and we're about to start basketball too. All sports are about to start up again.
What are you, a Mets fan? Are you a Mets fan?
No, I was raised right here in Atlantic City. We were Phillies fans growing up.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true.
Phillies, Eagles. I was an Eagles fan growing up. I was a Phillies fan. So when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago and I was there, that for me was a payoff of all time for all of us Philly fans. Flyers. I went to school. I went to Temple University. So when I was in school in 1980, the Phillies won the World Series. Villanova won the NCAA championship.
Right,
and I believe the Eagles went to the Super Bowl but didn't win, I think, in around then too. Something like that. So we were a championship team. I think we won the hockey around then. It was so amazing. Every time you go out on Broad Street, there'd be some big party.
Yeah.
And, Philly was, it's a crazy place. Where are you living now?
I was really happy when the Eagles won. I just want to say that. I just really feel like I have a lot, like me, like, sports, it's to me, it's entertainment. I don't get too caught up in this, that, or the other thing. It's entertainment for me. Like, I see the athlete doing their job and I think to myself, I could probably do that job.
But you're not paying attention the whole season to any team or anything like that.
To me, I'm like backstage with the band. I'm in the locker room, like talking to the doctor about my shoulder's broken. Like, I'm not in the crowd caring who won or lost the game.
Right. You're a player. You're actually on the field.
Yeah, I'm throwing the fucking touchdowns. That's how I feel, like, inside. And to me, guitar playing is especially because, I sing in the band as well. So, like, those two things are very physical for me. Because I can, for instance, let's say we go to Atlantic City and we rent a fishing boat. We go out and drink beers and fish for 3 days, right? And then we come back and I have a show that night at the Atlantic City Casino. I'm not even able to perform at my highest level, but a level that my fans are accustomed to, frankly. I'm not even able to be there, right? So it's because guitar playing is a somewhat athletic job. It's a little bit, you can do it a little chubbier if you want to, but John Kruk did it chubby too. So,
Jerry was out there playing guitar and singing. He was fat as hell in the old days. Some of those pictures.
Yeah, but Jerry was a real athlete, you know.
He was definitely an athlete. He was ambidextrous with that hand, and he really could play. What was your influences? I know you were a big Fish head growing up, right? I mean, that was the Trey. Is that why you picked up the guitar?
Well, I think I was on a Fish podcast the other day, and I think I explained it really well. Like, there was a certain kind of music that we all kind of craved, which was like, it was kind of like the 70s prog rock mixed with the Grateful Dead, you know, like really longer songs, more musical, but like
influenced by Zappa and Yes and Genesis. So
we
the Grateful
wanted
Dead
more of that.
By prog rock. I never really thought about it that way, but it's dead on correct analysis.
Yeah, and then Fish came along, and everybody was like, "Well, damn, that's awesome. That's what we're looking for." You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't a 3-minute Fish song. It was, you know, even like Mango Song, which was the simplest Fish song back in the day, has the like the little parts and the interplay, and Silent in the Morning has the little parts and the interplay. So it's like every song was that cool mix. So very popular when I was a kid, and we also loved the Dead. I mean, we used to sneak into Dead show. I snuck into a Dead show when I was 12 years old. So we were, I don't know, I was like so young. They like didn't know what to do with me. They caught me, and they were like, we were like, our parents aren't in the parking lot. If you kick us out, we can't get home, right? And I said this to the security guard. We had stuck in. He caught us like two little 12-year-olds running around Giant Stadium. Me and my friend. My friend was 11, so I did the talking, and I was like, if you kick it, he was like, you guys, you're not allowed to be in here, and I was like, okay, well, can we come back in? And he was like, no, there's no re-entry. There's no re-entry. You can't. And he took our tickets, and he was like, you can't come back in. And I was like, you can't put us out there. I don't know where my brother is, and my parents won't be around. This before cell phones, and there literally was no way we could get home.
How was your acting performance? Did you get the Oscar?
He gave us wristbands, and we walked down to the front and sat next to the stage wall. And my first Dead show was front and center, staring up at Jerry. Feel Like a Stranger opener, and some old Deadhead was in there, some guy who'd been on tour with the Dead since God knows when, and he walked up to us. He was also on the floor early because I guess he just went to the floor at 2 p.m. This is 2 p.m. Band goes on at 7 or 8. So we went in early just to scope it out. You know, we're 12, and my brother ditched us because he didn't want to drag two 12-year-olds around the parking lot. So this old guy with glasses comes up, and he's got his little board, and he opens up his board. He's got a chessboard. So me and him just sat there and played chess for 6 hours and waited for the Dead to come on.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's
12 years old at a Dead show, and then it's all downhill from there, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly how I would describe it. Consistent and downhill.
Downhill. What? So, what made you pick up a guitar? Was it Jerry? Or were you just? Did you start at that age?
No. Well, it was definitely Eddie Van Halen was the god of Earth when I was 5. I didn't pick up a guitar at 5, but literally Van Halen was everywhere when I was a kid. And like that old Pink Floyd song, it's like, we told you what to dream. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I think they told me to dream about being Eddie Van Halen, and I definitely have done that to some degree. Whether that's unfortunate or not, I still don't know. And then I was like really into Jimi Hendrix when I could get a job and could afford to buy myself a little crappy guitar. And so it was probably Jimi Hendrix, I would say.
Well, that's a hell of an influence.
Yeah, he was the best. Like there was those couple of videos of Jimmy at Monterey Pop where he's swinging his arm around and it would. So I used to watch those things like every night. We had a VHS recorder, and I had Jimi Hendrix on VHS, and that was it. That was the only movie I had. So maybe if my parents wanted me to be a doctor, they should have put like Doogie Howser, some shit. Like, why leave me in the basement with a fucking Jimi Hendrix video, and then oh my God, he became a guitar player? How shocking is that?
Well, and a very studious guitar player. You've been at it for a long time, and you've really honed it in. And when I interviewed Brownstein, he chalked up almost his bass playing, everything he knows on the bass is stuff that you kind of taught him and dragged him along. As how was he as a student?
I mean, that's a real vice versa situation. I didn't never thought of that as a student teacher thing. I think that we taught each other a ton of stuff. I've learned more from Mark than any other songwriter, frankly. Um, and we have different styles, and I have my style, he has his style, and like there's a lot of parts of my songs, like the one I always quote is "Above the waves always lets us fly away," but there's a litany of them where like Mark's changed the song up to his style, to have his style, which is a little bit more focused on the vocal melody and maybe communication skills, where my music is less about communicating stuff and more about like just freaking out over something that I think is cool in a note sense. So together, I think we work well together. I think it's a nice combo. And I always thought that the group, the whole group of the band, the Biscuits, because none of us are real like composers before the band. We were just guys who knew how to play our instruments. We didn't know how to be a band. We didn't know how to write music. We didn't know how to do communication, charting, and all these things that some people do. So it was a real hodgepodge of throwing it together. It was a real interesting way to put things together, and we got some great results over the years. I mean, this year we had the Tractor Beam band that we just kind of did it for like just because everybody was living in different places, and we wanted to kind of mess with some new sounds. So Tractor Beam was a really good way to do that. And I feel like we got pretty far down that road, like right up to the point where COVID hit. We were the Chicago shows, the Tractor Beam was next level. And
so who was Tractor Beam? The Disco Biscuits, but with and you played a certain set list?
Tractor Beam is the Disco Biscuits if we were
instrumental.
Like I forget. I can't think right now. It's like if we were it's like if the band, like people always say Disco Biscuits, you guys are DJs. It's DJ music. And
right.
We decided that, what if we took that seriously? Like, what if we okay, we're DJ music. Okay. Well, this is what we would do if we were actually I feel like the Disco Biscuits is so fusion, right? It's just
right.
It's just all fusion all day. Whenever somebody says we're a dance band, I'm always like, well, you must have read the press packet, but didn't hear the music. And so now it's like, well, maybe we should try being a dance music operation because, we do play a lot of techno. It might be cool to just sharpen new skills in the techno realm. So I made a guitar synth out of the guitar, and Alan played a lot of electronic drums, and Mark went to more of an electronic bass. And we started doing we started mimicking dance music more precisely. And then
were there songs, or were there just tracks that you played along with?
We were playing along with DJ sets, actually.
Oh.
So is the DJ playing two songs at the same time? Who cares? People are like, you can get the track list and learn the song. And I'm just like, oh my God, man. I'm sorry. I didn't realize the track list is a thing. I don't really care. We already learned the DJ version. It's just like that was the way we chose to. That was the poison we picked there. It was like that's what it was. We picked a bunch of super hot DJ sets because I feel like playing the song isn't the medium, right? The DJ is an essential part of the translation. Without the DJ mixing and cutting and turning and pulling the bass up, putting it back in, taunting people a little bit, whatever that tease is that they do, that to me is just as much of a part of it as the actual song. So us learning the songs, yeah, it's good. It's cool. But I like the idea of learning those little nuances and those transitions and stuff like that. And then as we did that, which worked really well, it then bled into the improvs that we were doing, which is where the really good stuff started showing up. So we started heading into improvs, and instead of it sounding like Disco Biscuits, it was sounding like some techno band but where is it going? They're not playing that song anymore. They're just going to sound like that and going. And there's a lot of potential there. I think when the band gets back out on the road, that's going to be a super important piece of what we do.
And do you think you would do it as like one set Disco Biscuits, one set Tractor Beam, that kind of thing?
Well, yeah, for sure. Although, I mean, I was hoping to do Disco Biscuits and then Tractor Beam After Party.
Oh, gotcha.
And we tried that, and it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare?
Yeah, like we need to buy 2 sets of equipment and have 2 sets of the crew, and like, because Tractor Beam, for that to work, needs to go on stage like 10 minutes after the biscuits are done. You know what I mean?
Right.
So no, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, you don't have the break you need.
The guitars, I gotta move the guitars.
No, here's the idea, because it's interesting. I talked to Robert Walter yesterday, and he was talking about how Grey Boy All Stars started, and they started with DJ Grey Boy, and he would come in and play, and then they would play after his sets. But it would be unique if you had somebody like Logic come in or somebody like that and mix with you guys. Like a DJ band thing too could be cool. I mean, and that way he could warm up the crowd while you guys change. I don't know. You know, it sounds like it has a lot of potential. It sounds like a great party.
It's a great party. It's a great party either way.
So I want to talk a little.
Go ahead. What do you got?
I want to talk a little bit about your tech work, because not a lot of people know that you design apps and you have this. You write code, and you have this fortitude for this whole other side of you that you kind of keep in. And you worked with a couple of friends of mine. Do you want to talk about that, or is that something you don't like to share?
Whatever it's your show, baby. Let's talk about it. I'm not trying to hide anything. No, I'll talk about whatever you want.
How did you learn how to do all that? How did you learn to write code and make apps? I mean, is that something you went to school and learned, or did you just figure it out while it was when you were doing it?
I locked myself in a cabin in Colorado, not too far away from where I am right now, with a number of screencasts and books on how to code. And I locked myself in a cabin for 6 weeks. And there's no internet in the cabin. So I had no television, no internet, no phone, no cell service, but electricity. Yeah. And I basically went to the supermarket, which was empty at the time because it was October and nobody lives there in October. And so I had the whole supermarket to myself. There's nobody there. I was like, one day I was in the supermarket and I was just like, hello, and like screaming as loud as I could scream. And nobody came, nobody said anything, you know, like there's nobody there. So I would buy a bunch of vegetables and healthy food, and I was working out every other day and doing a lot of hiking. And then I would go back to the cabin, and then I would just read the book and read a book and read a book. And I went to the cabin and I was like, should I do music or should I learn this code thing? And I literally flipped a coin and it landed on code. If I had gone there and listened to and if it landed on music, I would have been making music, and who knows what would I made? That would have been cool too. But I did code. I think I needed a break from music anyways, because, you know, I'd done music for so many years straight, and it was beginning to like have the issues of being on the road and disassociation from society and stuff like that were starting to get in the way of writing the actual music. It was starting to be like I would be up all night writing music, and I would just end up thinking about being out of society and like depressed and stuff and not writing anything. So that was so I decided to do code instead. And in 6 weeks, I had given myself a decent little degree in computers. So I knew how to make websites and all this stuff. It's not that hard. It's pretty easy. It's writing Chinese poetry, right? Right? You don't know Chinese, and you definitely don't know how to write Chinese poetry. Yeah, exactly. But that's what computer code is. It's Chinese poetry. And once you learn how to write Chinese poetry, it's not that hard. And then I basically started making some stuff, you know, but then I had a couple friends. I went back to New York City, and a couple friends who I was coding with. We were all street coders, which are kids who taught themselves how to code. And we were all street coding. And one of my street coder friends got sucked up into this currency exchange company where they were building a currency exchange from scratch. And about a year later, he hired me to work at that company too, because he knew I could do what he needed me to do. He didn't need me to do a lot of things. He just needed this one thing done, and he knew that I know how to do that one thing. So he hired me to do that one thing. And for the time that I worked for those guys, because it was like me in a room with a bunch of like Lithuanian non-English speaking PhD, like super like smart PhD computer science guys. You can't understand what they're saying, and like the joke takes 5 minutes. It was a really weird scene, but those guys beat all the bad ideas out of me, and I walked out of there a decent programmer. I walked out of there being able to do what I needed to do.
And you were able to build a couple apps and do great stuff. I mean, and a lot of people, it's a very different music, right? I mean, it's not abstract at all.
I'm sorry, you're totally breaking up. Is that me or is that you?
Yeah, I think it's me. I have seen some complaints online where people are like, "You're lagging a little bit, Jeff." So I'm sure it's the Wi-Fi here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better,
John?
better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. I think if I move a little bit closer to the house, maybe. Yeah, this is a whole new thing, trying to figure out how to do the shows from the Jersey Shore now.
Yeah, I mean, you're like having too much fun, dude. Next thing you're going to be in the ocean. You're going to be like, I can't get out of the ocean. This is just so great.
Well, that was so funny when Mike hit me up today, and he's like, yeah, it says you're on the air right now. And I'm like, what? I was like all muddy, sitting on the beach. And I'm like, oh, I scheduled this for the wrong time. But, it's a learning experience. As you know, you learn as you go, especially when you're teaching yourself something new. And this is like kind of like you did with coding, the same thing I did with webcasting, except I was kind of like in the middle of it and then I have to learn how to do it all.
Yeah, I mean, you got to learn it somehow. And to me, I do things best like in an isolation environment where it's just me and the thing, So I did it when I wrote like Hot Air Balloon back in the day. Like I had no money back then, so I literally couldn't even. I've lived on like $8 a day. So and $8 a day, like you can't have a car. You know what I mean? You could do nothing.
Nothing.
So all I did was write music all the time, and those songs were really, really great, and they still stand up in my catalog at least today.
That's your rock opera, right?
Yeah, that was like the stuff I was writing in 98, 99. Like we were broke and we couldn't do anything, and I remember being annoyed by it, but I would just write music all the time. And then I did it again, but I ended up doing code just because music was kind of like fucking my life up. Every time I tried to do something in music, a lot of bad would come along with it. So I felt like music was going to kill me for a while. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to like go to a cabin and make music. I'll probably end up dead. And then I went and wrote some code and I learned that. And then we did a bunch of really cool things in the code space, And then I gave up code and put the Biscuits back together because I was like, music is really what the world needs me to do, I think. I don't know. Does anyone need anyone to do anything? No. But for me, it was like code. There's just a million people on earth who are probably better than me at it. And they're all trying to write the same fucking shit. It's fine. If I don't write code, nobody cares. But if I wrote music, people dig. People still like my music. They still come watch us play. And so I was like, yeah, I'll go back to music. But the key to going back to music was not serving two masters, not coding during the daytime and writing music at night. Like just have one thing that you do, blah, blah, blah. And so I thought
you made money with the coding. It was kind of like you taught yourself a job so you could get some money in your life.
Yes? I mean, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I haven't seen any of the money yet, but I was when I was doing the currency exchange and I was making a gift card app at the same time, I had 2 full-time jobs and I had 2 full-time job salaries, and that was dope. That was the only time in my life that I've been like not having to worry about money on a regular basis, which I always have to worry about money. Like it's the worst. Because when I left college, I took a job for $100 a week as a guitar player of the Disco Biscuits, which everybody else who went to my college got like a real job, and I took this shittiest job I could find, money-wise, but satisfying in a lot of.
Well, how long was it before it started paying off? Was it 10 years?
I don't think it's paid off.
Still,
it's like a charity. I explained my. I explained my life, my business life. I was having dinner with this guy who was like, I think there's like a SEC football stadium named after him. So he's like a big deal, and he's like very successful. And he was like, "So what do you do?" And I was like, "Well, I'm in this band, and we blah 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 blah. We play these shows, and we do this thing, and we do this." And he's like, "Oh yeah, tell me more, tell me more." And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, then how do you get paid? Where's the money coming?" And I goes like, "It comes from here. It comes from here. This is what we do. We sell T-shirts, blah 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 blah." And he goes, "Sounds like a charity." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess it's a charity. It sounds like a charity."
Yeah, but at a certain point, you do music for yourself because you have
Yeah,
to.
I just do music because we're all gonna die. So you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, why do these people go out and make $80 billion? This is like, what is wrong with you people? Like, once you get to like 50 million, like, what do you need the rest of it for? Really? Like, it's a joke. You're gonna be dead in 20 years. It's like, who cares? Like, we need a plaque
Well,
with your name on it. You're not gonna see it. Like, who cares?
isn't that part of the problem with our society? Is that 1% of the people have 99% of the wealth, and that's why we're in the upside down right now.
Yeah, and it's just like all that wealth. Like, what good is it going to do any of those people? Like, honestly,
Well, they're not sharing it, and they're holding on to it for themselves. And if they do, it's a charity or something like that they can write off. Yeah, our world is very disproportionate in the wrong direction right now, and everybody's having money problems. You're not making any money. I don't have any money coming in. I mean, I still sell photos here and there, and the same way you still probably have it sell a T-shirt here and there. But we're in a new paradigm now, and we also see all of our small right now, which is really hard for all the up and coming bands. I mean, you guys played. How many bars have you played in your life?
oh Jesus, 10,000.
Right, and for years that was the way that you made a living. I mean, even if it wasn't millions, it was a way for you to function and get your music out there. And
No, it was dumb. I mean, literally, like I should have, if I wanted to compose music like I do, like that was the goal. Was it the band was like part of it, but writing was the part that I really enjoyed, and that's what I thought I really wanted to do for the world was write a certain like kind of like I wanted to write a kind of music that I just didn't hear anymore, and I thought was going to die, and I didn't think was worth dying, which is like kind of the less here's my catchy thing, and more like these are interesting things that you can do with today's music, with today's like let's create cool new textures, let's create cool new sounds, let's go to places with the music, let's break some new ground and make songs about it. And you have to kind of wrap things up in a sing-songy showbiz kind of way to make money off of stuff. And we do that in our band. I don't know if we do that as well as we could or should, but we do. And that part's fun. I like that part. But
and your fan base too. You have such a dedicated fan base now. I mean, with the Camp Disco has been going on for 20 years now.
Oh yeah, Camp Disco has been a huge success for us. It's been one of the big, great, successful things that we've done in our career. It's wonderful.
So, I mean, and you have a fan base that is dedicated and they're there for you and they're supportive. And, so you have all the things that a musician would want at this point in their life, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. And honestly, like I'm surprised the fans are still around, to be honest. No offense to the fans. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have put the Biscuits back together if they weren't there. And like, we did try to put the Biscuits together. I think that, and we're not, and like COVID could have been a death knell for a band like the Biscuits. And I'm trying with this Couch Tour TV initiative to get a place where the Biscuits can play and be themselves and also like pay their mortgages, which is like something that has to happen.
Well, there are some other people in the space like Stage It and a couple places like that.
Tons,
yeah. So you have some competition in the space. I mean, this is the way I think Live Nation's working on something now. Everybody's working on some kind of paid streaming service. I mean, most of the work you did, I mean, you guys did an amazing job raising money for Plus One.
Yeah.
And most of the stuff you've done now has been for charities and for other people affected by the virus and stuff like that. And now it's time to put some money in your own pockets. And I think we can all appreciate that and get behind that. I don't think that's the kind of thing that people want to support the bands they love and want to make sure
I would like the band to play for 10 years. You know what I mean? Like I would like the band to be able to stick together. I don't want to get a phone call tomorrow. So-and-so took a job, you know what I mean? Because they had to. And I feel like that phone call could come any day. And so I feel like, I just feel like it's a similar position to Camp Disco. Like when we started out, we wanted to play all the festivals, and we wanted to play good spots in the festivals. And all the festival owners were like, you guys can't play our festival. We think your fans are too crazy. Or you guys can't play our festival unless you play the 2 a.m. slot, and you can play 45 minutes and for a small amount of money. And it was just like, none of the festivals would give us a fair shake, because I think we represented a kind of music that was too experimental for them. And they just wanted like somebody to go up there and look pretty and sing a song. Everybody just wanted Jack Johnson and then somebody else who does exactly what Jack Johnson does. Now, if I could sing or look or sound anything like Jack Johnson, we wouldn't be having this conversation. but I think I as much as doing and the Biscuits, we stream on Nugs, we stream on YouTube, we stream on other sites. We're not going to stop doing that. But I want a place where we can do a tour. Like, I don't think if we went to another site, they would let us do 40 nights in a row. You know what I mean? I think our fans might go to a good portion of those 40 nights in a row, but I don't think a site would really let us do it and still promote it and care about it and support it and stuff like that. So I don't know. We'll see if it works. Part of me going back to music was not writing any code. And I really want to stick by that, but I got really depressed when the quarantine happened, like especially in March, because I just had this beautiful new little baby and he was really cute. And then somebody called me up and was like, well, you're not going to play a concert till 2022. So you're fucked. So, and that was 2 years. They were like, at least 2 years. Just like you said, quarantine lasts for 2 years. Somebody who I respect and is like a very responsible, smart person called me up and was like, you need to be prepared because the touring thing is done. And, you know, and that scared the shit out of me. And I was like, ugh. Then I was like, maybe if I made a live streaming site for the Biscuits, that then we can play shows and nobody could stop us and nobody could tell us, oh, you were on our site last month, we don't want you this month.
Right.
Or, you know, nobody could say, oh, we can't pay you because sorry, we lost the money or whatever. It's just like, it would just be a direct thing between the band and the fans. No one can stop us. And I personally like situations where I feel like I control the destiny of it. So I built the thing, and then as I finished it, like it's pretty much done, we'll be launching in August. Everybody and their mother built one and announced one as well. So yes. When the guy called me in March, there was
ahead of the curve.
There was nothing. Nobody was helping us. But you know, now of course everyone's building it. And hopefully hopefully we can do a lot of shows on it and use it to, you know, keep the band moving forward and keep the fans entertained and keep the music going.
Keep the dialogue going between the fans and the band, which is ultimately important. I mean, playing in that stadium with no fans, you guys are a fan-based band. You're used to playing to your fans. Like you said, your fans are rabid. People are like, oh no, because they love your music. And they come out for it and they want to see it. So it's really hard to not have it. We're all feeling that, all of us that are fans of every band. Let's switch gears and talk about your podcast, Touchdowns All Day. What's that about?
Touchdowns All Day, the podcast. Touchdowns All Day, the podcast is I do it as a community outreach, and I do it for the community. I think the community improves because of the podcast. It serves the purpose of the lazier members of our community, who I fully support. They have less work to do. All they have to do is listen to the podcast, and they hear like the dope jams from last week, and they get the updates, and everything's there. And then if they want to go deeper, great, go deeper. But if you
what is your subject matter basically? What's it about?
Essentially, the point of the podcast is for me to listen to the shows that we just played, have some of the better moments put out, and then as we listen to it, I discuss them. So it's like a director's cut vibe with the fans, and then sometimes I tell a couple little funny stories about life just to keep it light and fun. And then we added
it's a deep dive into the Disco Biscuits.
Yeah,
The biscuit.
that's what it's supposed to be. That's the purpose of it. That's the core reason for existence. That's the mission, is to basically, like, we did this Citizen Bank Park show. We did the whole show, and you can listen to the podcast, and we just released it, and you can listen to the podcast, and you can hear like me telling stories about the jams. And then, when the jams are sick, I'm not talking. We're all listening together. But then when it mellows out and peters out and gets a little noodly, I hop on. I tell a little funny story. I move it along a little bit, and it allows people to digest what's going on in the Disco Biscuit world really quickly. Now we also added some like roundtable comedy bits. We added some interviews, and we did some podcasty stuff once we had it set up and going.
Right.
So, and then we just do that for fun. We just, it's like I have an interview coming up with Pete Shapiro. Pete and I have worked together forever. Him and I are old friends, and I have stood by and watched Pete remold the world in the image of the Grateful Dead, and just like I've watched Pete do the impossible over and over and over again. And I'm in the position of knowing him and talking to him and like being like, how like I talk a lot of bullshit, you know what I mean? And people always look at me like, you're never going to do that. And mostly they're right. And you can't say that to Pete Shapiro, because he'll go do it. He'll do it. And it'll seem impossible. And then so I have him on, and then I have Sammy, the old drummer of Disco Biscuits, on, and I have Karina Reichman, who's a young bass player in the scene who's hilarious. And so that's my next three. And the podcast is Touchdowns All Day, and it's just kind of like what you're doing right now.
It's opening up a little bit past the Disco Biscuit subject matter.
Yeah, I mean, I have no shows. Like, I don't have any.
Right, there's nothing. You're out of shows to talk about.
Once the couch tour gets going, then I have shows, and then the podcast starts.
Well, how about deep diving back into some of the old stuff?
Well, we did. Well, we're going to do that, and we do that. We did a lot of 1999 stuff in the past couple of, I think, late fall of last year. We did a lot of 1999. This year we were going to do a lot of 09 stuff, and I might go back. I might do a full Haymaker and stuff like that, like the classic shows. I might do the classic shows. Just listen to the whole show with the fans, director's cut, everything. And honestly, the nice thing about the podcast is I can talk about Couch Tour, which is a thing that we're going to try. Hopefully it works. I can talk about doing acoustic shows. I can talk about Aaron Spaga Band, Mark's Star Kitchen, Alan's Dr. Famous. I can talk about, Lane was making cheerleaders shoe cleaner or some shit. Like I can sit down with these people and talk about all the things that they're doing, which I'm fascinated by the entrepreneurial spirit of my crew in the music business. Like Mark started the Live Lesson Master site just because he's an entrepreneur at the core, and that shit makes me super happy. And I talk about his lesson site all the time. I did a bunch of lessons on the site to just be a part of his moment, and
how was that for you?
I loved it. I think I didn't know that, and he loves it too. It's funny how like we are really, really heavily like trained musicians. We just don't know it. You know what I mean? So I sit down with these kids and I see what they don't know, and I'm like, oh man, like it kind of takes me back to when I didn't know that, and I've learned a lot faster ways to get to where they want to get, and it helps me think through my own thoughts a little bit. I feel like the reason Citizen Bank Park was so good is because, essentially, Aaron and I played. I thought I played pretty good at Citizen Bank Park. Aaron played excellent, but fucking Brownstein and Dr. Famous showed up. Like those guys they are hosting the MVP trophy for Citizens Bank. There's no question in my mind. I talk about it in the podcast, and I don't know. Those guys were both giving lessons, like 5 lessons a day, and then they show up to Citizen Bank Park and just destroy. Like maybe there's a connection there. Maybe all you people who were getting lessons from those guys, thank you, because those guys are playing great because of that. And that's my mission right now with the band. Is my mission last year was, let's get some new music in and let's bring some life back in this band. Let's get the band back together. Let's get everybody happy and like super psyched, and let's do a tractor beam and try some new experiments, and let's start making like our kind of music again. And then this year, COVID hit, and I had a month where I was like, oh my God, like, why didn't I just I'm really good. Why didn't I go be a surgeon? I could be saving people right now.
You could have taken a bunch of books and gone up to the mountains, learned how to be a
Yeah, like
surgeon, but you wanted to be a coder.
what is it with me and the guitar playing? You know what I mean? And then I think, but luckily I had Lisa and the baby there, and we played during those couple of months, and then in May and June, I started thinking to myself, well, Mark set a really good example for me. Like, why don't you wake up every day and figure out how to do guitar in a new world? What's wrong with that? Like, why not make that the effort? And that is the effort. That's been the effort since May. That's the effort, I think, from the whole band. It's like, how are we going to make a successful band and a successful business, in
Where you guys survive the 2
world.
years, and where you come out the other side of this 2 years ready to play and with a little bit of cash in your pocket and not, starved down, not lost 30 pounds eating boxed ramen.
I'd love to lose 30 pounds. You're starting to sell me on the other side of it. I'd pretty much do anything to lose 30 pounds right now. That'd be great. What do I have to do?
Well, I biohack. You haven't tried that?
I mean, of course. What's your the bulletproof coffee is what you like?
Yeah, bulletproof coffee every morning, man. Every morning I eat around 2 o'clock.
So what is that exactly? Tell me what that is.
Well, it puts you in intermittent fasting, where I'm on 18 hours a day. I don't eat. It's kind of crazy. It could be 16 to 18 hours I don't eat, and I eat between 2 o'clock and 9 o'clock. I'll have lunch around 2, and I'm not hungry during the day. It's kind of crazy, but I'll tell you what, I lost 40 pounds on that with that stuff.
No,
and I've kept it off now for 3 years and been consistent. And you know what? I still have ice cream and a cookie here and there, and so I figured out a way to manage. I'm happy to. I'll email you I have a little letter I send to my friends that are interested, just so you can see what it is. It's kind of interesting. Biohacking. You're a computer guy, so anything with hacking, it's like you're just hacking your system. Dave Asprey, the guy from Bulletproof Coffee, is Dave Asprey. He's a genius.
But what is the coffee with gunpowder in it? I don't understand.
No. Sorry. It's coffee with ghee butter and coconut oil, MCT oil.
At the same time?
You put the coffee and the butter and the MCT oil in the blender every day, and you drink that. And the MCT oil gives you an amazing amount of brain fluid and energy. It's something that's really changed your life. And in males that have taken 2 tablespoons of MCT oil a day and not changed their diet, they've lost 25 pounds and belly fat. So the stuff is good.
Bullshit, dude.
I'm telling you, the stuff's good. I'm gonna send it to you.
What? Did you say in males? Like
in males that have tried it? It's taken off. If they use the MCT oil, it takes off.
How much MCT? I'm going to try this tomorrow. I'm starting tomorrow. What do I have to do tomorrow? I'm starting your diet tomorrow.
I'll text. I'm going to send you something when we're done. A little email with my thing in it. But you got to basically get a bulletproof coffee, which you can get at Whole Foods. They sell them in a little box, and they're great. You could drink that in the morning. I make my own. I make my own coffee. I put it in the blender. I got a whole system I've created.
How many times a week do you clean the blender?
I clean the blender every day. You have to wash that thing out every day. You kidding me? It's crazy.
Deal breaker, dude. Deal breaker.
Barber, thank you so much. I love you. Thank you for coming on. We're already out of time, and we could have gone on for another hour.
Yeah, for sure. We could. We literally could.
Really,
thank you.
You're a real talent out there, and I really look forward to you with your guitar in your hand, center stage, doing your thing for us and blowing our minds. I can't wait till the next time.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on the show, everybody. Jeff's fans. I've known Jeff for a really long time, and I love this show that you got together, man. I'm really proud of you. This is super great, and welcome to the Osiris family, if I'm allowed to say that.
Yes, you are, for sure. We're both members of Osiris Media, so they've been it's great people to work with, and they've done a great job. Thanks a lot, John. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jeff. See you, everybody.
All right. There we go, folks. We hit the hour. I'm in the alley here in Margate having the time of my life, and I appreciate John coming on the show today. A couple quick notes. Head count. Mark Brownstein. There's another great thing Mark Brownstein started. is head count. And you heard John talk about Live Lesson Masters. We'll give them a plug. Our Ashes Chocolate, spend $75 off. The new 420 bar is going to be available soon. Spend $75, get your discount and your 420 bar. And Solo Pipe. We'll send John a Solo Pipe. Thanks for tuning in. Peace, love, happiness to everybody out there. A hug. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. Boom.